Houthi rebels have launched 2 long-range attacks on the United Arab Emirates, including one at Abu Dhabi Airport. Here are the details. Yemen's Houthi rebels say they are responsible for deadly drone attacks in the United Arab Emirates on Monday, according to the Wall Street Journal. One attack caused fires that saw 3 petroleum tankers explode near state oil firm ADNOC storage facilities, killing 3 people, while a second attack occurred at a construction site near Abu Dhabi International Airport, according to an Abu Dhabi police statement cited by CNBC, disrupting flights. The Houthis are thought to have been retaliating against the UAE's increased role in the Saudi-led coalition that is fighting against it in the Yemen civil war, with the Yemeni Foreign Ministry saying it reflected Houthi desperation after rebel defeats in Marib and Shabwa provinces. In retaliation for the attack, Saudi coalition airstrikes killed 11 people in Yemen, including at least 5 civilians, according to the UN. The MIT Center for International Studies explains that the war, in which 377,000 people had died by the end of 2021, according to Al Jazeera, acts as a sprawling proxy battle between Saudi Arabia and Iran, and the Wall Street Journal says that although the Houthis have developed the ability to build drones using materials bought locally or sourced from intermediaries elsewhere, their longer-range weapons are either Iranian or based on Iranian designs. Iran has denied arming the Houthis, while the Washington Post suggests that recent attempts by Iran to repair relations with other regional powers raise questions about whether it approved of Monday's attack. The Associated Press reports that the UK and US joined Israel in saying Iran was behind an attack on an Israeli-operated oil tanker that killed 2 people, and have vowed to respond, calling it a violation of international law. U.S. Navy explosive experts believe a drone strike hit the tanker off the coast of Oman, killing a British security guard and a Romanian shipworker. The strike hit the bridge of the tanker Mercer Street on the night of Thursday, July 29th. It marks the first known fatal attack after years of assaults on commercial shipping in the region linked to tensions with Iran. While no one has claimed responsibility for the attack, Israeli officials alleged Tehran launched the drone strike against a ship that was being operated by an Israeli company. Iran denied the allegations and said Israel killed the shipworkers in a false flag attack designed to show Iran in a bad light. The attack comes after years of tit-for-tat attacks in which Israel and Iran use clandestine methods to attack each other's commercial and military ships, using limpet mines, drones, and other methods to cause damage. Reuters reports that the Abqaiq oil processing plant and Khurais oil field, both run by state-owned company Aramco, were set ablaze following drone strikes. The attack, which occurred early Saturday morning, cut more than half of the country's oil output, or roughly 5% of the global oil supply. The New York Times reports that satellite images released by the U.S. government showed at least 17 points of impact at key infrastructure at the 2 sites. Yemen's Houthi rebels had claimed responsibility for the attack, according to the BBC, saying they deployed 10 drones to strike the 2 oil facilities. But a source told CNN that the U.S. and Saudi investigators have determined that the attack was launched from a base in Iran close to its border with Iraq. A mix of drones and cruise missiles carried out the strike, flying at a low altitude over southern Iraq and through Kuwait before reaching their targets. According to CNN's source, the route would have allowed the missiles to avoid passing over U.S. and Saudi radar and air defense systems, which are strongest in the Persian Gulf. Another source said that images showing the wreckage of a failed missile in the desert appeared to be of Quds. While this missile is used by the Houthis, it does not have a range that would allow it to hit from Yemen, 1,300 kilometers away. The Quds-1, however, is based on an Iranian design, similar to the Iranian cruise missiles Sumar and Hoveze, which are capable of traversing such a long range. The first unambiguous evidence that Saudi Arabia is building its own ballistic missiles with the help of China has emerged through satellite images, according to CNN, citing the Middlebury Institute of International Studies. The images show a facility operating a burn pit to dispose of solid propellant left over from the production of ballistic missiles. Casting rocket motors results in leftover propellant, which is an explosive hazard, so burn pits are an indication a facility is actively casting solid rocket motors. CNN reports that the transfer of such sensitive technology by China could have ripple effects across the Middle East, particularly as the Biden administration attempts to expand the terms of a nuclear deal with Iran to include restraints on its own missile technology. Iran and Saudi Arabia have been locked in a fierce struggle for regional dominance for decades, and in the context of that multifaceted dispute, where Saudi Arabia has made clear that it sees the conflict in Yemen as the extension of its struggle with the Islamic Republic, it is considered unlikely Tehran would agree to stop making ballistic missiles if Saudi Arabia has indeed started manufacturing its own. Additionally, the Middle East Eye suggests that any U.S. response to the weapons technology being developed could be complicated by its difficult relationship with China and the fact that the U.S. Senate itself backed a $650 million missile sale to Saudi Arabia earlier this month used to arm fighter jets during the ongoing war in Yemen. President Joe Biden is being challenged from within the Democratic Party over the $3.8 billion of aid the U.S. sends to Israel every year, according to the BBC. Senator Bernie Sanders, for one, has said the U.S. should look hard at how the money is spent. Almost all U.S. aid to Israel comes in the form of military assistance, and its annual grants represent around 20% of the overall Israeli defense budget, according to a 2020 report by the Congressional Research Service. Israel has used billions of dollars on gaining military superiority over its neighbors. For example, purchasing 50 F-35 fighter jets, which can be used for missile attacks, or last year purchasing 8 KC-46A Boeing aircraft. Of the $3.8 billion given to Israel in 2020, $500 million, or around 13%, was used for missile defense systems. These include that Iron Dome system, toward which the U.S. has contributed $1.6 billion since 2011. Since 2016, the U.S. has also spent $177.5 million on anti-tunnel capabilities that detect, map, and neutralize underground tunnels that threaten itself or Israel. To date, the U.S. has provided Israel with $146 billion in military and missile defense funding, and its military spending commitments have steadily increased over the last 3 decades under the Clinton, Bush, and Obama administrations. According to the BBC, since World War II, Israel has received more U.S. aid in total than any other country. We looked at the military strength of Iran and Israel and found that Iran's much larger population of 84 million versus the roughly 9 million people in Israel allows Iran to field an active duty force of 525,000 troops, compared to Israel's 170,000. Iran has more tanks, but these are mostly T-72s and copies of the T-54 and T-55, which are widely considered inferior to Israel's Merkava Mark IV. Israel's air force is larger and much more modern than Iran's, with 66 F-15s, 175 F-16s, and at least 27 F-35 stealth fighters, with plans to own 75 F-35s in total. Iran's air force consists of 63 old F-4s and 26 old F-14s, as well as 19 MiG-29s and 23 Su-24s from Russia and 17 F-7s from China. Israel also possesses 48 attack helicopters compared to Iran's 12. Iran's navy is larger and is modernizing, but Israel's navy has advanced missiles and vessels, and it can likely also launch nuclear-armed cruise missiles from its 5 Dolphin-class submarines, which are believed to operate near the Persian Gulf. Thanks to U.S.-led sanctions, Iran likely has no nuclear weapons on its 29 submarines.
For more news animations and explainers, hit the subscribe and bell button to join the TomoNews family. Thanks for watching.